Alex Pereira just beat Magmed Ankalaev this previous weekend at UFC 320 to reclaim the light heavyweight championship, and I think it's time to have a serious conversation on how good Alex Pereira is. Since I've moved to Dubai, I've got a lot of Brazilian friends, and all of them are now saying that he is the greatest Brazilian fighter of all time. Which is crazy to say. He's obviously, in their opinion, overtaken Anderson Silva, Jose Aldo, Charles Oliveira, and I think I agree with him. He's 13-3 and 10-2 in the UFC, and the only two losses was Magman Ankalaev, which we now know was because he was super sick, or maybe he just got it wrong. Even if he did, he also clearly was sick, because you see the difference in him between that fight and the previous fight. And the other fight was Israel Adesanya, one of the greatest middleweights of all time. But he had already beaten Israel Adesanya. He's obviously a two-weight division champion, won the middleweight gold, and won light heavyweight gold, obviously. Has multiple defences. And if you look at the names he's beat, I just think there's some of the best light heavyweights. We'll look back and say they were some of the best light heavyweights of all time. Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prochazka, Magmed Ankalaev, maybe not Jamal Hill, but them three definitely. Obviously already beat Israel Adesanya, beat Sean Strickland, which is aged amazingly. And if he goes on and beats John Jones or he beats Tom Aspinall at heavyweight, he can go down as the greatest fighter of all time. And he started at like 35 years old. He's done all of this in the span of like 3 years. And to be recognised or to be the greatest Brazilian fighter means so much compared to being the best Italian fighter or Spanish fighter, which Ilia Topuria is now. There's not many fighters from that region, so it's not as impressive. But Brazil, there's so many good fighters, even outside of the top five. In my opinion, the top five is Alex Pereira, number one. And then I'll go through in what order these people are in, but you've obviously got Jose Aldo, Charles Oliveira, Anderson Silva, and then I do also think Alessandro Pantoja is now entered in, but you've got people like Lyoto Machida, Vitor Belfort, Wanderlei Silva, so many amazing Brazilian fighters, and to be number one in that. And this is just MMA, this isn't combat sports, because in combat sports, he could be the greatest combat sports athlete of all time. Obviously winning the highest of the highest in kickboxing, transferring over to MMA at such an old age, and then winning the highest of the highest belt there, which is just crazy. But if we look at his career, obviously started in the middleweight division, and instantly he's so active. That's what makes this extra good, because all this is in the span of 4 years. He's obviously beat like Bruno Silva and a couple bottom feeders in the middleweight division. Then he beat Sean Strickland in the first round, crazy knockout, brutal knockout too. Then fights Adesanya, and the fight was pretty close. It was pretty close, but look at the size of him. He's weighing 230 pounds on fight night, and he's weighing in at 185 pounds the day before. That is insane. Obviously, beats Adesanya in the first fight, TKOs him. Second fight, gets knocked out. That happens to everyone, so he moves up to light heavyweight. Beats Jan Blachowicz, who I think is arguably the most underrated UFC light heavyweight of all time. And then fights for the title against Yuri Prochazka, knocks Yuri Prochazka out. Then fights Jamal Hill, saves UFC 300, the biggest card probably of all time, knocks him out in the main event in the first round. Then he fights Yuri Prochazka again, saves UFC 303. So he fights 3 pay-per-views next. I think it was like 2 or 3 months difference. Basically knocks him out at the end of round 1. As soon as round 2 comes, knocks him out instantly. Then he fights Magmed Ankalaev, obviously got beat. But I do actually blame it down to sickness. I was saying in my recap of UFC 320, I don't feel bad for a fighter when they're like, I'm injured, I'm sick, whatever. But because every fighter says it, but that was a clear reason. We've seen the difference, polar opposite performances, and then comes back, fights Magmed Ankalaev. People don't usually win in the rematch. People don't, especially when you're that old, 39 years old, knocks him out in the first round, or TKOs him in the first round, brutally too. Then calls out a UFC heavyweight champion, whoever it may be, Tom Aspinall, John Jones, Cyril Gane, whoever. I think any of them fight, main event at the White House, it has to be. He's the biggest star in the whole sport. Maybe it's like a big three of him, Ilia Topuria, and Islam Makhachev. But he is amazing. It's hard to say because for the best Brazilian fighter of all time, because when you think you've got arguably the best middleweight of all time, Anderson Silva, and you've got arguably one of the best featherweights of all time, Jose Aldo. Now, if we rank the top 5 Brazilians, I do have Alex Pereira top now, because Anderson Silva failed the drugs test. He failed the drugs test. And as well too, I don't think the level that he fought was as good as the level Alex Pereira fought. I feel like Vitor Belfort, Chael Sonnen, all the people Anderson Silva fought, Forrest Griffin, they'd get absolutely destroyed by Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland, Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prohaska. I think they would all absolutely destroy Forrest Griffin, Chael Sonnen, people like that who Anderson Silva fought, and they were his big wins. And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away. Just because now the new gen is better than the old gen doesn't make the old gen bad. But I forgot, actually, Alex Pereira knocked out Khalil Roundtree as well. So, man's got 3 defences of the light heavyweight belt. So, I'm going to be wrong. And don't get me wrong, Anderson Silva, he obviously has, over 10 defences of the middleweight belt, but the level isn't as high as Alex Pereira, and he wasn't doing it the same way Alex Pereira was doing it. So, a lot of decisions. And obviously, you remember the head movement, the stepping on the back foot, knocking out Forrest Griffin, but there was a lot of decisions, and you forget he got knocked out by Weidman. He then broke his leg in the rematch, and then he lost so many fights, losing to Cannonier, Uriah Hall, as he got older too. So that thing of Alex Pereira, where he's just getting better as he's getting older. See the difference between Anderson Silva? He got so much worse as he got older, and he failed the drugs test. So for me, he is second, maybe third, because I really rate Jose Aldo. Obviously went unbeaten for years and years and years, defended his belt for so long, beating the likes of Uriah Faber, Chad Mendes twice, all really good fighters. But the reason he can't take over Alex Pereira now is because he lost to Peter Yan, Alex Volkanovski, Max Holloway twice, Conor McGregor, all the greats of his division he lost to. That's like Alex Pereira losing to Yuri Prohaska, losing to Magomed Ankalaev, and then losing to Jan Blachowicz. He's knocked out all of them. Jan Blachowicz didn't knock him out, but he's beat all of them. And don't be wrong, Jose Aldo, amazing fighter, absolutely amazing, so fun to watch. But he's number 3 for me. Anderson Silva number 2, and Alex Pereira number 1. Then number 4 and 5. Number 4 and 5, I thought if Charles Oliveira would have beat Ilia Topuria, I think Charles Oliveira probably would have jumped over Jose Aldo for me, to be honest. Maybe not because of how many losses he has, but for me, he is number 4 at the moment. But number 5 is super close, and it's Alessandro Pantoja. And in my opinion, Pantoja soon, maybe in a couple of years, maybe like 3-4 years, because same as Alex Pereira, as he's getting older, he's just getting so much better. And I think he can be the second greatest Brazilian of all time. I think he can rack up to about 10 defences, loads of finishes, and be the second greatest Brazilian fighter, even maybe the greatest Brazilian fighter of all time. I do think he's going to absolutely maul Joshua Van. I think that would be like a first or second round sub. Obviously, if he loses his belt, he stays at 5th. He's not going to overtake Charles Oliveira if he loses his belt. Because Charles, he's beat Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, people like that. But then he has lost to the Islam Makhachev, Arman Tsarukyan, obviously Ilia Topuria, the greats of his division. And this is the difference between Alex Pereira and Anderson Silva compared to the rest of them. They beat all the greats. As Anderson Silva got older, he did obviously lose to Israel Adesanya, Cannonier, Uriah Hall, Chris Weidman. So still Alex Pereira, to me, has beat the best competition out of all of these, and he hasn't lost to the worst competition. He's lost to Israel Adesanya, but he's also beat Israel Adesanya. He's lost to Magomed Ankalaev. He's also beat Magomed Ankalaev. I think Magomed Ankalaev would have been one of the greatest light heavyweights if he beat Alex Pereira, because Alex Pereira wouldn't have got the rematch, and I think Magomed Ankalaev would have ran through a lot of the division. I think he would have beat Carlos Ulberg, beat Yuri Prohaska, beat Khalil Roundtree, beat Jamal Hill. I think Magomed Ankalaev would have gone down as one of the best light heavyweights of all time. But got beat by Alex Pereira. But back to Alex Pereira, I do think it is going to be difficult for him to be the light heavyweight GOAT, because I do obviously think Daniel Cormier and obviously John Jones is better than him. But I think he has an easier chance of becoming the overall MMA GOAT more than the light heavyweight GOAT. I think if he beats Tom Aspinall, John Jones, Cyril Gane, whoever has the belt, whoever he fights at the White House for the heavyweight belt, he will go down as the greatest fighter of all time, freeweight division champion, beat the best of the best at light heavyweight. And if he beats either Tom Aspinall or John Jones, I think he would have beat... If he beats John Jones, he's beat the greatest fighter of all time. And if he beats Tom Aspinall, I think he will have beat the best heavyweight of all time. I think Tom Aspinall will go down as the best heavyweight of all time. Don't be wrong, I think John Jones and Tom Aspinall both beat him. I think they both take him down. Tom Aspinall, I think Pereira has a better chance of beating Tom Aspinall because he's not as safe as John Jones. He keeps his chin in the air a little bit. But John Jones, he can definitely chin John Jones. He can. I could picture him knocking out John Jones. But I could also picture John Jones doing exactly what he done to Cyril Gane. I could see Tom Aspinall doing exactly what he done to Alexander Volkov. And I want him to fight for the heavyweight belt at the White House. I do think he will as well. But in my opinion, he is the greatest Brazilian fighter of all time. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you later.